everyone, and welcome back to the news. So, look, today we've got a story of a small indie company. You know, it's a real scrappy company. It's fighting Apple. It's called Epic Games. And, you know, Epic, they're small, they're downtrodden, they're really fighting for the little guy. And that's, of course, why everybody loves Epic Games all of the time. So, Epic are getting called out right now. Because in spite of their, you know, cutesy little, oh, woe is me, free Fortnite way of doing things, they've kind of ripped off Among Us in a way that, to a lot of people, including the developers of Among Us themselves and the sort of indie dev community, just feels scummy. So we're just going to dive into it here. So Epic Games has announced Fortnite's newest LTM, Impostors. Impostors. The mode sees 10 players, 8 agents, 2 imposters, working through tasks on a submarine, where the agents have to complete routine tasks, while the imposters try to sabotage things and generally make a nuisance of themselves. And of course, meetings can be called to vote people out. That's all cool. Even makes me think of the Battlestar Galactica board game, which is really quite cool. Now, that certainly sounds like Among Us. A lot of people think so, including the developers of Among Us. And it even gets into things like the map layout being highly similar. So let's have a chat, let's see some of the community reactions, and try to work out what it's actually like with Epic. So InnerSloth are the people who made Among Us, and they basically just seem disappointed. It's very obvious that Epic Games, I mean, look at Epic, right? What they do with Fortnite in terms of their collaborations, and they're quite known for their collaborations with Fortnite. Usually when a collab happens, though, it's with a big brand. Maybe there's something to that. But they're very big on the collaborations where they will always want to cash in on the very modern popular things, right? And obviously Among Us has been one of those. Now, perhaps if Among Us was done by a major brand and a major company, it would have been in the form of a collaboration. Not with this. They kind of just ganked their whole idea. Right, so here's a bit of reaction from Victoria Tran, who is the community director. It would have been a really, really cool to collab. Just sad indie hours right now. Like, game mechanics are fine, those shouldn't be gate-kept, but at the very least, even different themes or terminology makes things more interesting. And that's just some comment on how, I mean, look, I'm not going to say that, I don't want to be mean to Epic. I don't think they've not put their points into creative, right? Generally, they're cashing in on other people's intellectual properties, and, you know, it's more of a sort of big normie feeling dance party, right? If they were going to rip off Among Us, they probably could have done better, and maybe if they had done better, the Among Us team wouldn't feel like they've been ripped off. A lead programmer, again, just feeling bummed out. Yeah. Absolutely. And here's a more damning one from Gary Porter, who is a programmer working at InnerSloth. So if I actually go to this, see, here's the thing. People who have played these games will understand with these maps, but he basically just tweeted out, you know, this map, a bunch of thinking faces. He said, I haven't been tweeting much because he's been working hard on future content for Among Us, and it feels weird to be compelled to tweet again because of this. And he says, it's okay though, they flipped electricity in medbay and connected security to cafeteria. I wasn't even around for the development of Skeld, and I'm still kind of offended. Anyway, that's my piece in the whole thing. He's going to get back to work. Now, if you're not a player of these games, you'll look at this and you'll just think, oh, it's a map. What am I looking at? They look a bit different to me. Well, here is actually where Stephen Parker has came in with a Twitter reply that I think is great, where, you know, using the color coding, what you basically find is that the layout in terms of gameplay is almost identical. They've like moved a few buildings around in a way that, you know, changes things graphically, but the actual logic of the design of the map is highly similar, highly similar, to the point where you have to think, could Epic not have done something a little bit more unique? Because I think somebody, once they get used to this, their ability to play the map of Among Us is going to be extremely useful in what they've done here with Fortnite. Now, is this the sort of thing that's an official collaboration? Because it certainly looks like it, doesn't it? You know, Among Us explodes, is really big, everyone knows about it. Fortnite then integrates it. Well, no, it's not. Even though it really does look like it. But the official Among Us Twitter account has basically confirmed that. The studio co-founder, Marcus Bromander, has said that the worst part is that they've been actively trying to collab with them. So is this the case where they're actively trying to collab with Epic Games, and Epic's just being unreasonable? Again, who knows? And what's funny is, and this was a great pickup, even the data mining people thought this was official, given the language that was being used. Upcoming Fortnite x Among Us collab. There's currently a thing in the files called mole, brackets imposter, and it has these keywords related to it. Electrical, cafeteria, task, sabotage, factory, repair, lab, visitor CSI, weapons lab, island monitoring, security, the loop. This could also be referring to the IO's office, since there's Visitor CSI and the loop in there. We'll have to wait and see, but right now, there's no way these keywords are not referring to Among Us. So it's pretty damn clear when they were building it what they had in mind. Now, of course, we have to be very clear. It's game mechanics. You can't really patent game mechanics, and I think many people would say you shouldn't. And Among Us is not an entirely original game either, right? The social deduction genre has been around since the mid-1980s with games like Mafia. More recent examples are Evil and Unfortunate Specimen. But what people are pointing out here is that it's some of the original elements created for Among Us that have also popped up in Fortnite's imposter mode. That has, as Adam pointed out in our notes here, at least Call of Duty Stab at the mode changed the names of things around a bit, right? There it's a double agent in Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. So at least they went to more of an effort to theme it, make it feel different than what Epic Games have done with this particular game mode. Now, in this situation, I don't think people would advocate for patenting game mechanics. We've already seen that have a detrimental effect, like with the Nemesis system from the Lord of the Rings games, right? That being patented sucks. That said, I mean, patents are generally specific, so you can achieve the same design via different means, and you generally will be okay by a patent. But in principle, it's not really something that we want. Marcus Bromander has pointed out that, WBE Games patenting the Nemesis system, he pointed that out, and basically that's the point. We didn't patent the Among Us mechanics. I don't think that leads to a healthy games industry. Is it really that hard to put 10% more effort into putting your own spin on it, though? That's the thing. It's kind of that they didn't try. And especially since it seems like they were in talks at one stage, that does make Epic kind of come off like a pack of scumbags in this whole situation. And as this is Joe, who is the comms lead for Systems Error Softworks, who are the people who make Astroneer, he said, saying Among Us wasn't first is a bad take. Among Us is inspired by Mafia, but adds brand new mechanics, emergency meetings, tasks, cameras, 3D, no moderator, and a lot more. Impostors is a reskinned remake that reuses most of the specific features that Among Us introduced. And that's where people are taking issue with how Epic Games have conducted themselves through this. Now we've got some comment from Ryan. Actually, I think we talked about his thoughts on, it was the Apex hacking a few episodes ago. But he's, come on, comms director at Respawn Entertainment. An industry figure, and what he has said responding to Victoria is the PUBG team, this is just about the whole thing of, Epic being the poor little oppressed underdog and talking about them as a citizen in the industry. And it is a pity to say this because Unreal Engine's fucking awesome. And a lot of the R&D and the technology that Epic Games is involved with, a lot of their licensing and things like that is genuinely great. And they do push the games industry forward in a very healthy and positive and good way that has empowered a lot of developers. That stuff is awesome. But, look, I maybe have a little bit of a bias towards engineers, because it's kind of the background that I came from. Perhaps it's the business people The people who are always trying to juice up the numbers, who get caught in the more scummy feeling things. Here's an example. The PUBG team was using the Unreal Engine and relying on Epic's engineers to help solve technical challenges of building a 100-person Battle Royale game mode. Imagine how they felt when their business partners released a mode with all their mechanics. That's like that's one take, and I think in some ways it's like a little strong. In other ways, you can say that Fortnite has got unique mechanics that differentiates it massively in the space. But I think you can get what Ryan is getting at there, and I think it's just when you combine that with how they've treated the Among Us situation that it just feels a bit less cool for Epic. We've also got Joe, comms lead again of the Astroneer studio. Woe is me, our little company is being bullied by an oppressive Apple monopoly. Also Epic Games. Hello, little baby team. We're stealing your core design at the height of your popularity and repackaging it into our $10+ billion franchise right in front of your face. And he did clarify, saying that it's not an issue of legality, it's the message that is sent. That a corporation willing to put the might of its resources to wholesale lift an idea of a smaller developer is scary in terms of competition. It doesn't feel good. And he says, especially when they position themselves and their store as being great for indies. And, another example of this, right? Because companies like Epic have got incredible data and analytics and all of that stuff. And I think to Amazon, and one of the big criticisms that people have of Amazon, and that is that Amazon gets incredible data from all of its third-party sellers who use Amazon as a platform to do business on. And what Amazon will actually do is Amazon will identify things that are selling really well, and then, once it's done that, it will do it itself. So, you're selling whatever widget or something, selling really well. Amazon can leverage all of their analytics and all of that stuff to work that out, then outcompete, crush the competition, and do it in-house. That's basically the entire strategy with Amazon Basics. Now, you can say that their process of doing that does end up with more, short-term, more competition and better prices for the customer. But if Amazon is leveraging their insane scale, they can get those prices to the point where basically nobody else can compete. And then you have to ask, does that reduce the possibility for future innovation? I mean, certainly future innovation that makes a product a little bit better but a little bit more expensive, that can still happen. But when the price is that low, because of how Amazon does that and kind of bullies its own sellers off its storefront whenever it doesn't really feel like it needs them anymore, I mean, that's some bad stuff. And you look here, yeah, it does feel pretty scummy what Epic Games are doing. And I just thought that it's an interesting topic. I think it deserved its own video. So I'd love to know, what do you think about this issue? For me, if they were going to do it this close, it should have been a collaboration. It should have been a collab. There should have been a bit of kickback for the people who made Among Us. That would have been a nicer, more positive and wholesome way for this to go than Epic just coming off like they used their insane resources to just gank an idea and put it into their game. Especially given the similarities that are at play with this story. So there you go. That's basically my take on the issue. I think it's not particularly nice behavior from Epic, and certainly they could have conducted themselves in a nicer way that would have made everybody more happy. But seemingly, they chose not to. So that's my thought on that. Please let me know what you think about this story. I'm very, very keen to hear. And I appreciate you watching. Have a great day. I'll see you next time.